Pad Paramahansa Paribhaj Acharya, Ashtarasi Sri Maharaj Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Hitai Gaur Premanand Giri. All glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to the sum of devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Nama Om Vishnu Vidai Krishna Prasad Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Govardhani Pacharni Nivesesha Shunyavadi Pastatari Shatarini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 4, entitled Vidura Approaches Maitreya. Text number 13. Pura Maya Proktam Ajaya Nabhye Padme Nishanaya Mamadi Sarge Jnanam Param Man Mahimavabhasam Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti Puramaya Proktam Ajaya Nabhye Puramaya Proktam Ajaya Nabhye Padme Nishanaya Namadi Sarge Padme Nishanaya Mamadi Sarge Jnanam Paraman Mahimavabhasam Jnanam Paraman Mahimavabhasam Yatsurayo Bhagavatam Vadanti Yatsurayo Bhagavatam Vadanti Puramaya Proktam Ajaya Nabhye Padme Nishanaya Mamadi Sarge Jnanam Paraman Mahima Bhavasam Yatsurayo Bhagavatam Vadanti Yatsurayo Bhagavatam Vadanti Ramaya Proktam Ajaya Nabhye Padme Nishanaya Jnanam Paranman Mahima Vavasam Yatsurayo bhagavatam vadanti Puramaya proktam vajayanabhye. Ladies, go ahead, Prabhu. Ladies, maya proktam vajayanabhye padmeshanaya mamadi sarge jnanam param mahima bhavasham. Yatsurayo bhagavatam vadanti Pura in the days of yore. Maya by me. Proktam was said. Ajaya unto Brahma. Nabhye out of the navel. Padme on the lotus. Nishanaya unto the one situated on. Mama my. Adi Sarge in the beginning of creation. Jnanam knowledge. Param sublime. Mat Mahima my transcendental glories. Avabhasam that which clarifies. Yat which. Suraya the great learned sages. Bhagavatam Srimad Bhagavatam Vadanti do say. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Uddhava, in the lotus millennium, in the days of yore, at the beginning of the creation, I spoke unto Brahma, who is situated on the lotus that grows out of my navel, about my transcendental glories, which the great sages describe as Srimad Bhagavatam. Purport. The explanation of the Supreme Self, as given by Brahma and already explained in the given to Brahma and already explained, in the second canto of this great literature, is further clarified herein. The Lord said that the concise form of Srimad Bhagavatam is explained to Brahma as explained to Brahma was meant to elucidate his personality. The impersonal explanation of those 4 verses in second canto is nullified herewith. Sridhar Swami also explains in this connection that the same concise form of the Bhagavatam concerned the pastimes of Lord Krishna and was never meant for impersonal indulgence. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Militam Jina Tasmai Siguraya Ukambarodi Vachalam Pangam Langayate Giram Yakipidamande Siguram Diratanam Paramananda Madhavan Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So today is also the appearance day of Srivas Thakur, so we're going to spend a few minutes at the latter part of the class reading something about Srivas. So here the Supreme Lord is explaining to Uddhava that the instructions that he had given to Brahma, and we read that in the first verse, Tene Brahma Hrida Hari Kavaye Muyanti Suraya, that this instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam given by the Lord was given to Lord Brahma within the heart. And so we can understand that this is coming from another source. It's not that Brahma all of a sudden became enlightened on his own or through some meditation or from some tapasya or some sacrificial work or even a cultivation of knowledge. Was he able to receive this message or become enlightened? But actually, the Lord himself, situated in his heart, as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, he's situated in the heart of all living beings, Paramatma iti chapikto, that he's there enlightening everyone, and he's giving guidance to all conditioned living beings, to all living beings for that matter, conditioned or not. He's giving instruction to everyone. It's just a question of whether one hears it. In this case here, it's described by the Lord that in the lotus millennium, which, if someone can help me out, I don't know what that means. A lotus millennium. Okay, so it means the millennium in which Lord Brahma appeared through the lotus, which, as I understand, happens every millennium. In the days of yore, in the beginning of creation, the Lord spoke to Lord Brahma, Hang evasham eva gre, nanyan yat sarasat param. He spoke with Lord Brahma and explained to him that before the creation there was nothing but myself. That which you see is me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and after the annihilation, what will remain will be again I, the Personality of Godhead. So in all cases, it's a personality who's speaking. It's not, again, coming from some void or some nebulous place. And he then further gives him instruction, right? Riteratina pratyeta pratyeta chatmani. That whatever appears to be of any value, if it has no value or if it has no relation to me, know it to be my illusory energy, that which is in darkness. So in every case, the Lord is explaining to Lord Brahma, and as Prabhupada points out here, the Lord said that the concise form of Srimad Bhagavatam as given to Brahma was meant to elucidate his personality. It was meant to establish the position of the personality of Godhead. Right? Etavadeva jigyasam tatta jigyasanatmana. That a person who's searching for that absolute truth must search for it up to this point of understanding that there's a personality of Godhead. And not that, again, it's coming from some unknown or never reachable source, indescribable source. Actually, it's quite the opposite. That after Lord Brahma was enlightened by the Lord, Brahmaya Esha Jagaranda Vidana Karta, that he worships Govinda, from whom the separated subjective person, Brahma himself, receives his power to regulate this material creation. Brahma receives his potency, he's authorized by the personality of Godhead himself. And it's by that authorization that he's able to regulate the activities of the material creation, the mundane world. He's empowered, just as the sun, what is it described, manifests some portion of its own light in all of the effulgent gems known as Surya Kanta. Just as the sun gives a portion of himself within those gemstones, so the Lord also gave of himself to empower Lord Brahma to produce this creation, to maintain it. And so in every instance, we can understand that it's coming from a person, the Supreme Person, right? Yastu Narayana Devam Brahma Rudrari Daivatai. It's not that Brahma or Shiva or some other demigod or some other personality is equal to that supreme living being, the personality of Godhead. Here again we're reading that there's no question of seeing or concluding that the instructions given in Bhagavatam have some impersonal conclusion. But again, it's quite the opposite. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramonir matsaranam. The Bhagavatam kicks out all of these other cheating ideas, these conclusions that the absolute truth is just some impersonal, unknowable, limited conception. But it's quite the opposite. That he's knowable, that he's approachable, that one can develop a relationship, just as we're seeing in every circumstance described here in the Bhagavatam, that the Lord is constantly communicating and developing and associating with his parts and parcels. The Srimad Bhagavatam, when it's properly understood, heard and chanted, right? Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam, when it's heard and chanted properly, then one can become liberated. And those processes of knowledge, renunciation, and devotion, which are described in the pages of Bhagavatam, are the processes which, by a combination of those, that one can fully realize what the Srimad Bhagavatam is. And it's interesting that that was also the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? Vairagya Vijanija Bhakti Yoga. His preaching work was to teach Vairagya, Vidya, and Bhakti Yoga. To teach us renunciation, the proper understanding of Vidya, or the proper awareness, and devotion, or bhakti. And a combination of those can produce that fruit which we understand as pure love of God. And it's just a matter of having the right knowledge. Prabhupada gives the example that the cloud is created by the sun. It can't cover the sun, but it can cover our vision. So similarly, this material energy, which is created by the Lord, may cover us, but that is only due to a poor fund of knowledge. When the living entity is covered by the material energy, it means that he has a poor fund of knowledge. We don't quite understand who we are and what is our relationship with the absolute truth. Just as, again, the cloud is created by the sun, and we may think that, oh, the clouds are covering the sun. No, actually, it's just it's just covering our vision, our eye, our sight. And therefore, we can't see the sun. So, similarly, this material nature, which is created by the personality of Godhead, it may cover us, but the Lord also gives us that knowledge by which we can dissipate that darkness of ignorance. And as we say every day, it comes through the spiritual master. So, there's no question of understanding or concluding or thinking that the conclusion of the Bhagavatam is meant for impersonal understanding. As Prabhupada quotes here, or comments, that Sridhar Swami also explains in this connection that the same concise form of the Bhagavatam concerned the pastimes of Lord Krishna and was never meant for impersonal indulgence. Therefore, Prabhupada actually comments how the impersonalists, they're careful not to comment on Bhagavatam for that reason. Because it concludes, its conclusion and its proof, its evidentiary proof is that the source or the absolute truth is personal. And again, Prabhupada gives us so many simple analogies that just as we are persons, our father and mother were persons, and before them was person. Ultimately, the supreme person, the Adi Purusha, is the personality of Godhead. So the Bhagavatam is simply meant to prove that point and make that point. If somebody is in a cheating mentality, of course they can come up with some other idea, that it was just a recent literature, that it was that it is just some mythology, or that it's some stories, or just some analogies that are meant to bring us to the conclusion that the absolute truth is a oneness, but no. Again, and it's a matter of hearing from the proper source. And here, the Lord Himself is speaking to Uddhava and explaining that to him. As again, as we mentioned earlier, that is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to give us that proper understanding. On that note, if there are no questions, I wanted to quickly read something about Srivas Thakur, because it's so pertinent to our verse today. We're going to be reading from a very nice piece of literature called the Associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was produced by one disciple of Puri Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, which has a very nice foreword written by Puri Maharaj. And it basically is a compilation of quotes from the Gaura Ganardesha Dipika, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagwat, and it describes all of the wonderful associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and some of the very beautiful personal pastimes that took place. Srivas is Narada, who plays such an important part in Krishna Lila. Narada Muni's friend Parvat Muni appeared as Srivas's younger brother Ramai. Srivas's wife, Malini Devi, was Krishna's wet nurse in Braj, named Ambika. I pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord Krishna, who appeared in 5 aspects as a devotee, as the expansion of a devotee, as the incarnation of a devotee, as a pure devotee, and as the devotional energy. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments, the Supreme Potent is revealed in 5 different manifestations according to His desire to experience 5 different pastimes. Ontologically, there is no difference between them, as they are one truth expressed according to 5 dispositions. Thus, Sri Gauranga, Sri Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Sri Gadadhar, and Srivas, and the other devotees are ontologically non-different from one another. Nevertheless, that one truth is manifest as a devotee, the expansion of a devotee, the incarnation of a devotee, the energy of a devotee, and the pure devotee, according to the desire to relish different tastes of divine relationship. Of these 5 truths, the Supreme Lord Himself, the son of Nanda, takes on the devotional mood to become Bhakta Rupa. Balaram takes on the devotional mood and appears as the Bhakta Swarupa, Nityananda. Purusha Avatar Mahavishnu takes on the devotional mood and appears as the Bhakta Avatar, incarnation of a devotee, Advaita Acharya. These 3 are all Prabhus, that is, they are Vishnu Tattva. The devotional energy, Bhakta Shakti, and the pure devotee, Shuddha Bhakta, are classified as energies of Vishnu Tattva, which are considered non-different because of their dependent relationship to it. The principal devotional energies are Gadadhar, Swarup Damodar, and Ramananda Rai. The pure devotees include Srivas and others who are in the moods of friendship or servitude. Srivas is thus a member of the Panchatattva. Srivas Pandit's origin. Srivas Pandit hailed from Sylhet. He later came to live in Navadvip, where he made an immense contribution to Gauranga Lila. From the Chaitanya Bhagwat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, we learn that Srivas had 3 brothers living with him in Navadvip, Sri Ram, Sri Pati, and Sri Kanta. All 4 were participants in Mahaprabhu's Lila. Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidhana cites Prema Vilas in saying that Srivas's father was a Vedic Brahmana of the name Sri Jaladhar Pandit. Srivas was the second of 5 sons. The eldest son, Sri Nalina Pandit, had a daughter named Narayani, the mother of the author of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das. Narayani's husband, Vaikuntha Das Vipra, died while she was pregnant with Vrindavan, so she left her husband's house in Kumarhat and came to live with Srivas in Navadvip. Srivas and Nimai Pandit, there's a wonderful pastime here that describes how Nimai would engage various devotees in a debate. And one day Srivas Pandit was out walking when he encountered Nimai on the street. He said, "People study in order to become devotees of Krishna. What is the use of all their studies if they don't become devotees? Don't waste your time. Start worshipping Krishna as soon as possible." Chaitanya would always try to engage Srivas and others in debate. And finally Srivas, exasperated in an exasperated mood, spoke back. Mahaprabhu felt great joy on hearing such words from the mouth of his own devotee and answered, "You are a devotee. By your mercy I will surely have devotion for Krishna someday." Even though they could not help but be attracted to Nimai, the devotees were unable to recognize him as their own worshipable Lord due to the force of his Yoga Maya, Lila Shakti. This is a most astonishing and attractive pastime. When Mahaprabhu returned to Gaya, he began to display all these symptoms of a person who was intoxicated. And when Srivas came near him, Mahaprabhu was immediately overcome with divine ecstasy on seeing a devotee of Krishna. When he had recovered, the Lord said, "Everyone thinks that I have gone crazy. They say my humors are disturbed. What do you think has happened to me?" Srivas laughed and answered, "If your humors have become disturbed, then I want some of that too. I see that powerful devotional feelings have entered your body. This means that Krishna has been merciful to you." A relieved Mahaprabhu joyfully embraced Srivas and said, "If you too had said that I was going mad, I would have drowned myself in the Ganges." When Mahaprabhu instituted the loud chanting of the holy names in his own house and in that of Srivas, all the atheistic neighbors began to complain. They were losing sleep because of the noise. They looked for ways to counter the movement and even started false rumors that the king would come soon to punish the devotees. The impressionable Srivas Pandit believed these stories and was filled with anxiety. He began to worship Lord Nrsingadev for protection. Understanding that Srivas was afraid, the Lord appeared before him. "Who are you worshipping? Who are you meditating on? Behold, he whom you are worshipping is standing before you. I will save the righteous and destroy the wicked. You should worry no longer." So saying, he sat down in the heroic posture and revealed the divine form of Nrsingadev, holding conch, disc, club, and lotus. When Srivas saw this extraordinary manifestation of the Lord, he was overcome with feelings of love and began to recite hymns of praise. And Mahaprabhu was very pleased with his recitation. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also have a kirtan at Srivas Angam, or Srivas's home, which, if you've been to Mayapur, is just before the Yoga Peeth. And Mahaprabhu decided to begin his Sankirtan pastimes there at Srivas's house. His intimate associates present only though. It all began on an Ekadasi, in which Mahaprabhu revealed many transformations of ecstatic love as soon as the chanting began. And we all know that there were some incidents where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be chanting at Srivasa's place, and he would stop because he felt that something is not right. We know in one case it was Srivasa's mother-in-law who had hid in a corner someplace, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt that the mood is not correct. Another time when a Brahmana had approached Srivas and asked if he could come, and Srivas thought, yeah, okay, he's a Sattvic Brahmana, we'll have him come and sit in on the kirtan. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again felt that the mood was not correct, which is very instructive that when the kirtan is there, it should be done in a very devotional mood. Not that we just get loose and crazy and we're in some kind of artificial ecstasy, but it has to be done with the proper mentality. Mahaprabhu's kirtan, his kirtans were so loud that many non-devotee brahmanas used to make fun of Mahaprabhu and his devotees at their ecstasies, you could say. One of them was a Bhattacharya Brahman named Gopal Chapala, and we know that the story goes that he was so envious that he put some articles of Kali worship in front of Srivasa's home, and when Srivas saw this, he declared to all of the residents that, just see, I'm a Kali worshipper. And of course, those who were in proper understanding could see that this was just the enviousness of Gopal Chapala. And he later on was infected with, was it cholera? I believe it was cholera. Or leper, that's what it was. He was infected with leprosy, and then was again, after he had begged for the mercy and rectified his position, he was forgiven by Srivas, and again was allowed to, or was cured. That is quite a long story, which we don't want to delve into right here. But there's another wonderful short story that took place when Srivas was visiting Puri. After Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and was living in Puri, Srivas would come with other devotees each year to stay with him for 4 months of the rainy season. Srivas and Advaita Acharya and so many other devotees would come and associate with the personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srivas was a participant with Mahaprabhu in his Leelas in cleaning the Gudicha temple and Rath Yatra. He was the principal singer in the second kirtan group, which included Nityananda Prabhu himself as the dancer. And one last note that we'll make here in finishing up, which is very, very interesting, that even after Mahaprabhu remained permanently in Puri, and it is said that his divine apparitions took place in 4 places. In Sachi Devi's house, Nityananda, wherever Nityananda was dancing, in Srivas Thakur's kirtan, and in the home of Raghava Pandit. These apparitions took place because the Lord is naturally attracted by the love of his devotees. So Srivas Thakur was again one of the Panchatattva members. He's a very exalted personality, and these are just a couple little pieces of nectar about his glories. So, any questions or comments, additions? And his son died. Yes, that was also a very interesting pastime. How his son had died, and um, the devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sensing that something was not correct, and he inquired, why is the mood or Shiva's not in the proper, something's not feeling right here. So they explained to him that Srivas's son had just that previous night passed away. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was alarmed that why isn't it that you didn't say something? And Srivas, don't disturb the kirtan. And Srivas again, his retort was that he didn't want to disturb the kirtan, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was quite astounded by it. You should have said something. Where is this boy? So they brought his son to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to rise up. So the boy rose up, and then there was some, it's described in here, there's some exchange of some conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and that son, who explained that he was only acting according to the Lord's direction. So hearing this explanation, all the residents were satisfied. The boy again left the body, and that was the end of that experience. Very interesting instruction. All right, we'll end there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.